Thank you for tuning in to Breaking Down the Barriers on KZI 88.7. I'm your host, Beverly Reeves. Breaking Down the Barriers is an initiative of the Austin Independent School District. This program was created to provide information regarding district initiatives for the success of each and every student. Today's guests are Mr. Flip Romero, Community Engagement Coordinator with AISD Facilities, and Ms. Kristen Ashe, Facilities and Bond Planning Advisory Committee, Community Engagement Subcommittee Chair. They are here to discuss the FabPack Committee and the work that they're doing today.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here with you, and thanks for the invitation.
Sure. So let's start with you, Mr. Romero. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your role in the district.
Well, I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for the Office of Facilities here at AISD, and I'm been with the district for about a year and a half. I did broadcasting and operations for both ESPN and Austin Community College. And here I am now tasked on the duty to help the district reinvent the urban school experience.
Okay. So Ms. Ashe, I understand you're one of our community members who participates on this committee.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became involved.
Well, I was appointed to my position by Trustee Julie Cowan. Myself and one other person, Jody Leach, were appointed to the FabPack, a committee made up of 18 people across the district. I have two children that are both currently students in AISD, one at Doss Elementary School and one at Murchison Middle School. And I've been involved in the public schools for many years on volunteer basis, say in PTAs, and see the need for some facility attention.
Okay. So what exactly is the FabPack and what's the role of the committee?
So as I mentioned before, we're tasked to reinvent the urban school experience, right? And that is a big challenge that we have ahead, but we're willing to forge ahead and get this ball rolling. So the district formed by the board members formed the Facility and Bond Planning Advisory Committee, which has the task of building the future of AISD. And when I say building the future, is literally they are tasked with the facility master plan in helping analyze the data that the district puts together and look into modernizing our facilities. Our average school facility here in the community is about 40 years old.
Wow.
So it's a major challenge, and Kristen and 17 other members have volunteered their time to help us with this and really have a grassroots approach to community engagement to really tell the Austin community what this is all about. And it really is about the future, not only about the current students, but 15, 20 years from now, my kids and my kids' kids, I want them to really see the bright future that the district has to offer.
So Ms. Ashe, as a community member, did anything that you've learned through this process surprise you about the intricate details of running a school district or just the facilities process as a whole?
Well, it's as Flip was saying, it is such a large problem, and it takes a very high-level view to look at all of the facilities. I think as a community member, sometimes we tend to focus just on the schools where our children are attending. And as a FabPack member, it has been a wonderful journey to learn about all 130 schools operated within the district, what their needs are, what their schools, facilities themselves, the facility challenges that they have, as well as the challenges in their community as a result of aging facilities, and how to make that wonderful educational experience for AISD continue into the future.
Right. So you talked about just how we usually focus on the schools that impact us personally.
Yes.
And looking at it from a global perspective as a member of this committee, what, other than the building itself, is this committee looking at? You talk about facilities, and we usually think about brick and mortar. What else is there? What else is involved in planning regarding facilities in schools?
Well, on top of facilities, the most important thing is our academic programming, right? What academic programming we have to offer and how the facilities relate to that programming. So it's very important to align the academics with facilities and then add the modernization to it. You know, for thousands of years now, we've been, you know, ancient times, you look at the classroom and it's always been somebody standing in front of you. You had what were rocks back then. You lined them up. You sit on the top of the rock, and somebody gives you a lesson, right? That format hasn't changed. And as technology changes, we need to align with our technology. Nowadays, you know, you get an iPhone every year. Now, unfortunately, we can't update our facilities every year. However, we can plan in the future and slowly build to that, kind of like building blocks to help modernize our facilities and give a better future for our students.
So I think one of our newest facilities is Padrone Elementary.
Right.
And I haven't personally had the opportunity to go, but I hear it's amazing with its technology and its modern features. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how the facilities master plan impacted the end result of that building?
So Padrone Elementary is kind of a unique school building because this is really when the district put our heads together to find a solution for overcrowding in the area. There was no land to put a school in, so we actually repurposed a warehouse into a school facility. And if you go in, I invite the public to come and take a tour of the facility. It's state-of-the-art, green building, has solar panels, uses solar energy to function half of the building. And the facility looks amazing, and the kids really, really love it and engage really well with not only the teachers, the programming, but the building. It's kind of neat to kind of see that all in place.
Right. So you mentioned we have 130 facilities, and when we talk about the facility master plan, are we just looking at the schools specifically, or are we looking at the other buildings that AISD owns, like athletic facilities and buildings such as this one where our station is housed?
No, we're looking at it as a whole, definitely from athletics to fine arts to our school transportation system.
Okay.
We're looking at it as a whole, and we're analyzing what we're doing as part of the facility master's plan. So actually, all throughout the summer, we had our group of consultants and engineers to kind of check the tires at our schools, so to speak, and see where we're at in terms of the age of the building and the needs that are required for every facility within the district.
Okay, and so in that process, I'm assuming that information went back to the Fab Pack.
Yes.
And you were able to analyze that, and in the end, you'll make recommendations to the board, I guess?
Well, because we are an advisory group, so we
Okay.
are simply going to be taking in all of the information, and it's coming to us now. We don't actually have the full results yet from all of them, because again, it's 130 schools, and they couldn't start looking at them until after school was out. So it's been crazy to see the amount of work that this group is doing to attend and literally count electrical outlets and things like that in every single building, checking roofs, checking HVACs, the things that you don't even think about when you see a school, not to mention its aesthetics and how the children feel when they're in the school. There's a lot of research that shows that if children feel good about the space that they're in, they're more open to learning, they feel safer, they feel more secure. And we as a committee want to make sure that we are furthering that as we look into the future.
Okay. So I know that we started doing quite a bit of community involvement, community engagement work around the facilities master plan, and the Fab Pack committee itself was really working on that. And as the engagement subcommittee chair, can you talk to us a little bit about that process?
Certainly. So one of the things that as a committee, when we all sat down, because we've actually been meeting in November, it will be a year that we have been meeting. And the overriding theme that we all had was that we were, as a group, wanted to put community engagement first. We felt like that in years past, the community engagement before the bonds had been written had not been as far-reaching as we would have wanted and had hoped. So we were wanting to also to make sure that after we do community engagement, that we're coming back to those communities and letting them know what we're doing with the information that they gave us. So with that in mind, we have really focused on making sure that we're getting out to these schools. And of course, with only 18 people, even with 18, that's hard to do. But reaching out to principals, reaching out to PTA presidents, reaching out to neighborhood associations and saying, we want to let you know what we're doing because we want you to be an educated voter should we come to a position where we are putting a bond before the Austin public.
And so what are you finding when you actually are engaging the community at, let's say, a meeting on a campus with a PTA? Are you finding that the community is already well informed, or are we having to do a little bit of the education first and then talk about the needs of the district?
Well, so the way that the Fab Pack has been set up is actually quite different and a new way for Austin Independent School District to approach a bond process. In the past, a bond committee was formed to write one bond, and they would create one, and then they would disband. And the Fab Pack is set up to be a rolling committee it's a standing committee that will continue and always look 20 years into the future. So with that in mind, we are educating about what is kind of a new process. So there certainly is some education that's involved with just explaining how the Fab Pack is working differently than the process has been before. And then also educating, as I had mentioned before, educating beyond the borders of everyone's closest school and making sure that people that live in Northeast Austin understand the struggles of Southeast Austin, or Northwest Austin understand the struggles of Southwest Austin, and likewise, so that they can understand that AISD is a urban school district. As much as we like to think we're a small town, we are an urban school district, and we want to make sure that we're meeting the needs of every child in the district.
Okay. Can you talk to us about the techniques that we're using right now?
Okay, great. That's a great question. So right now we're kind of not only restructuring the way we engage the community. So before is we're going to have a meeting, and it's going to be for 3 hours, and we're just going to talk to you for 3 hours, and you're going to need to listen on all the information. We found that process really is not only very boring, but it's not really engaging. So this time around, we really want to take a really grassroots approach, engage the community, and this time we want to have a kind of a meet and greet, a gallery walk session where you come, you talk to us, ask us questions, and we give you feedback, and you just really have a constant communication loop on the entire process, on where we're at, where we're heading, and where really the entire community wants to go. So we're scheduled about 6 series of community engagement that we're going to do throughout the year. And the one that's coming up, we already did series 1, which was right before school ended, excuse me. And we're really right now on stage 1, series 1, is really talking about, who we are, what we're doing, and really what is an AISD school of the future look to you. So we've been on several events participating and kind of talking to communities from the north to the south side to see where we're at. In series 2, when that comes up, we're going to have a little bit more data, as Kristen mentioned, with our engineers and consultants in terms of the analysis that we got from each facility. And as we start getting that data, we really want to put that together in a package and go back to the community and let them know how their school is doing, and add their input to the process as we come back and bring it over to our committee and to our board members.
Okay, so in using those techniques, I remember going to one of the gallery walks,
Right.
which was really interactive. We got to converse with community members and the experts on the various types of school programs that might be available. And the community members seem to enjoy that much better than sitting down and listening to us talk at them for hours on end. The interesting part that I noticed was that it wasn't just adults in the room this time. We had some students there. Is that new?
It is. Well, I said, if you want to talk to somebody about a school facility, who's the person who uses it the most? Well, that would be the students.
Right.
So if they have the best knowledge of what the school, how the school feels and how the school functions and things that they would like to see. And so we wanted to make sure that we were tapping that resource and making sure that we were taking into account things that they have. They also tend to have the ability to think outside of the box, whereas adults tend to still think brick and mortar square building. This is how I went to school, so that's the imprint that they have in their mind, whereas students are able to see so many different ideas, and we wanted to make sure that they were a part of the process, and we will continue to do that.
That's good. What about the high tech? Are we using any technology to get feedback?
So as I mentioned before at the start of our conversation, is really technology changes all around us at a fast rate, and we really need to connect not only by having meetings, which is what we call high touch meetings, is engaging that part, but also doing it high tech. So maybe we want to broadcast a meeting online, or do kind of a Twitter town hall. Use social media to our advantage to really engage our audience and get the community involved. And we found that having both in a balance has really helped us get community feedback, not only from parents, families, but to teachers and students as well. It really kind of brings the whole process together.
And that's another group we usually forget about, are the teachers. We really need their input because they're also in the buildings all day. Yes. And we need to find out what their needs are because they're the ones delivering the academic programs to the students. So,
and as a teacher myself, before I had my daughter, was in the public schools as a teacher myself. And when you're in those classrooms and you're working with all of those students and you see where the needs are. And so there has been a very pointed effort to make sure that as they're being trained in new techniques and new ways to educate our students, that their facilities support that. We want to make sure that they have a classroom that might be a little more flexible space that will allow for a small group work as well as large class project work, and that they have the ability to take advantage of the new techniques that they want to implement.
So there was, we always talk about communications and listening, and that sometimes the district might not be the best at doing that. But I'm hearing some positive things about this process that FABPEC is using regarding community engagement. So do you think that this is going to be something that continues through this perpetual committee? We're just going to get feedback from the community to see whether or not this is working or not and tweak it as we go along so that we can continue this engagement process and that it's effective and informative. And will this roll out to other programs?
Well, it's interesting as you mentioned that, I'm the community engagement coordinator for facilities, and I really, when I have these conversations throughout the community and with other departments, it's really, we're setting the foundation brick by brick, and kind of, pun intended, because we really want to build on this, on kind of really thinking outside the box in terms of connecting with people. And it's not only the community, but it's our staff and our departments as well, getting everybody on board to support this, because we really are building an AISD future that we all can be proud about. That it's not only for us, but for our kids and for our kids' kids. So I'm really passionate about that, and I really hope that we're building. I don't hope we are. We're building the blocks that are needed as we forge ahead and look for a brighter future. One of the best ways that you can communicate with us is also with if you go to AISDfuture.com. It'll describe the entire process on where we're at right now. There's an amazing stage Series 1 videos that you can kind of watch and really get familiar with the process on where we're at in terms of the facility and bond planning advisory committee and how we're engaging the community, as well as getting familiar with the facility master plan as we build through this process.
Okay.
And I think that there's been a lot of research that shows that an engaged community is much preferred to what a disengaged community. I think what you see when districts tend to fall apart, it's because almost there's a feeling that the community has given up on the schools. And we don't want to do that. We want to be a model of an urban school experience for our students. And we have that opportunity right now, and we want to take advantage of it.
That's good. So you had already talked about the website, aisdfuture.com. Is there any place else where our audience can go and get more information about FabPack, or if they want to find out about the future engagement opportunities or things like that? Is there any place else they can go to find that?
Definitely. Hashtag AISDfuture, you can it's really neat because if you put that on, for example, Twitter right now, you can kind of see the process of every school in the summer that actually the district worked on to improve. It's a great tool to see, where we're at in the process, because we also, not only we're working on our current, our last bond and how that bond is improving our schools right now, but there's only a certain amount, right? So we kind of have a trending timeline on all the schools and what they're going, where they're at in the process. Another thing is we're having events, not only, let's come to a meeting at a school building. Well, how about we create meetings that are in your neighborhood, in your community? And one of the big events that's coming up in September is the AISD Future Cup. That's going to happen on September 10th from 5 o'clock to 9 p.m. And it's really a soccer tournament to really invite the community to come and let's talk about the AISD future.
That's a new engagement tool. I can't say I've ever heard that one before. So who's playing in the tournament?
We're inviting communities, their families to come join the tournament, and not only play for this humongous cup that we designed, but also get informed, get involved, and really talk to us as staff and as a volunteer. Talk to us and to let us know, give us some feedback. We really want to put a finger on the pulse and see where we're at in the community and what really address the needs of AISD, which is so important for our students.
That's great. I'm going to try and make it to that. Are you playing?
No. Those days are over. I hung up my cleats a long time ago. However, I look forward to really seeing the communities get connected and really seeing that. I think it's going to be a great event and have everybody involved.
Great. So, Ms. Ashe, are there any things that you would like to add about your experience through this process? You said you've been meeting about a year now. It
has been it's something that I feel extremely passionate about, and I think that is very true to say of everybody who sits on this committee. Nobody that's on this committee is there because they've been forced. They're there because they feel strongly about investing in our public school system and being a part of it and making sure that it is the best that it can be. I encourage people, I believe on the website there is a list that shows all of the members of the FabPack, and that if they would feel comfortable reaching out and creating a connection, I know that as a committee we would love to be a part of that. And they're designated by trustee areas? I believe that information is in there where it shows which appointee and who appointed them. Okay. So that's good to know. So they can contact the representative for their trustee area and have develop that relationship so they can actually communicate, especially if they're unable to participate in the engagement events that we've already have scheduled. Yes, and I mean, we are a group of 18, and we are trying very hard to make sure that we're representing the community as a whole, but we are only 18. And so the more information that we receive from the community, the better decisions we can make, the better informed decisions we can make that are pleasing and exciting to our whole district. Right.
AISDfuture.com, and we have our email address out there. It's fatpack@austinaisd.org, and we want to invite the community. If you have any questions, any questions that you need answers, or you would like to let us know, hey, Flip, would you like to come out and speak to my neighborhood association? Come out to my community. Send us an email, and we'll glad to schedule something and really connect with you and your community.
Well, I really appreciate you both being here today. This has been great information about our facilities master plan and our Fab Pack. And we invite our audience to connect with this group and send an email to fabpack@austinaisd.org if you'd like to get in touch with anybody on that committee. Thank you, Ms. Ashe and Mr. Romero, for being with us today. And thank you for being with us on Breaking Down the Barriers. To keep up with information in the district and the AISD community, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at AISD_BDB or on Instagram. Also watch Breaking Down the Barriers on AISD's Channel 22 every Tuesday and Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. and Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m. I'm your host, Beverly Reeves, and I look forward to talking to you next time on Breaking Down the Barriers.